Hey everyone, welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. If you're joining us fresh from our last lesson, the capstone audit, where we covered how to actually execute and report findings, you already know that auditing is really all about catching those critical flaws before they go live. Well, today we're doing a special explainer. We're going to review an engineering schematic that honestly caused one of the most catastrophic failures in Web3 history. We're talking about a single code pattern that produced absolutely devastating outcomes, forced language-level mitigations, and totally reshaped audit practices forever. So let's dive right into it. Think of me as your lead engineer today. Here's our architectural index for this explainer. We'll kick things off with the vulnerable blueprint, then break down the anatomy of the exploit, and look at the massive fallout in the 2016 DAO hack. After that, we'll cover engineering the fix, and finally, leave you with the auditor's checklist.
All right, part one, the vulnerable blueprint, a bad bank vault.
To really grasp where this architecture failed, you kind of have to think of a smart contract as a digital bank vault. It securely holds user balances, accepts deposits, processes withdrawals. It's supposed to be completely impenetrable, right? But what happens if the vault door swings open and hands out the cash before the internal security system actually checks and updates its own ledger? That logical gap? That is the core of the flaw we're investigating today. Take a look at this precise definition in dark green ink. Reentrancy. It's a vulnerability that exploits how external calls and control flow interact, allowing a callee to re-enter a function before the initial state updates. See, in earlier Solidity versions, low-level call semantics allowed forwarding all remaining gas. This meant when a contract made an external call, it effectively handed over the steering wheel to another contract. If that caller preserved enough gas, the external contract could just call right back into the original function. It's literally like our digital bank vault handing out cash, and while the teller is distracted typing on the computer, you just tap them on the shoulder and ask for that exact same cash again, all before they've even recorded your first withdrawal.
Moving on to part two, anatomy of the exploit, the ATM analogy.
Let's take this abstract concept off the patent paper and put it into a scenario we've all probably secretly dreamed of at least once. Imagine an ATM that is frankly just a little too eager to please. Step 1. You ask for your $100 balance. The ATM runs a require check, sees you have the funds, and passes you to the next step. Step 2. The ATM mechanically spits out the $100. Now, normally, the machine updates your account down to 0, right? But with a reentrancy vulnerability, there's a tiny pause. Control is actually handed over to you. And step 3 is where the exploit happens. Because you have a malicious fallback function, you loop back, interrupting the machine before it updates your balance and say, "Hey, can I withdraw $100? The ATM checks its unupdated ledger, sees you still have $100 on record, says sure thing, and hands you more cash. You literally loop this until the machine is completely empty. It's a crazy bug, but it brilliantly illustrates the exact logic flaw. Let's look at the actual schematics here. Checking out the vulnerable pattern on the left, you can spot the fatal order. External interaction happens first, so sending the funds using a low-level call, followed by the state update, which deducts the balance. That arrow pointing down, yeah, that's a multi-million-dollar mistake. Because the balance hasn't been decriminated yet, the required balance check at the very top of the function passes on every single reentrant call. Now look at the patched version on the right. Notice how the state update happens first. We deduct the caller's balance, and then and only then do we perform the external interaction to send the funds. If the attacker tries to loop back now, their balance is already 0. The required check fails. Access denied. It's elegantly simple, yet totally devastating if you reverse the order.
Which brings us to part 3, the 2016 DAO hack, the Titanic of Web3.
So what actually happens when this flaw makes it out into a production environment? Well, we go from reading abstract code to studying a massive historical catastrophe, one that fundamentally forced the entire industry to redesign its safety standards and ultimately led to a hard fork of the Ethereum network itself, no joke. The crucial point is right here on our timeline. In 2016, we experienced the infamous DAO hack. This wasn't just a minor glitch. It was a massive systemic loss of funds triggered by a recursive reentrancy bug in a withdrawal-like function. It was basically the canonical incident that exposed reentrancy's true risk. Moving down the timeline to 2018 and 2019, we saw various DeFi drains, interaction order bugs in lending and liquidity pools, that really reinforced the urgent need for better tools. And honestly, even today, we deal with ongoing incidents involving legacy code pads, ERC-777 tokens, and complex callbacks. The 2016 DAO hack was the iceberg, and it completely reshaped how we do audits. There is one magic number to remember when analyzing this threat, boldly inked right here: 3. 3 enabling conditions absolutely must exist for a reentrancy attack to succeed. 1. an external call that transfers control. 2, preserved precall state that still permits repeated success checks. And 3, a calling convention that permits nested entry. By the way, if you're enjoying breaking down these mechanics, you'll absolutely love how our wider learning modules in the Forge College curriculum explore these exact technical conditions in incredible hands-on depth.
All right, part 4, engineering the fix, upgrading the vault.
So we know the history, and we know the flaw. But how did the brilliant minds in the Web3 community actually engineer their way out of this mess? Let's look at the specific mitigations implemented to prevent our digital vault from ever being drained this way again. We've got 3 industry-standard mitigations detailed right here. First up, the checks effects interactions pattern. This is exactly what we just saw. You do your checks, you apply the effects by doing the math and updating the state, and only then do you interact with the outside world. Seriously, simply doing the math before handing over the money solves a multi-million-dollar problem. Second, we have reentrancy guards. Think of this as putting a deadbolt on the door. It's a simple Boolean flag, like OpenZeppelin's reentrancy guard, that blocks any secondary calls until the first one actually finishes. And third, utilizing safer call primitives to strictly limit gas, effectively starving any malicious looping code of the fuel it needs to execute.
And finally, part 5, the auditor's checklist, your next steps.
Okay, it's time to put your hard hat on. We're shifting from history into practical application. As an auditor reviewing fresh code, how do you make sure you don't accidentally greenlight the next Titanic? You need a reliable, repeatable system. This workflow right here is going to be your daily bread and butter. Step 1, always flag external calls, especially to arbitrary addresses or msg.sender. That's your first massive warning sign. Step 2, trace the surrounding logic and verify that state changes, like those balance deductions, happen first. Step 3, if an external interaction absolutely must happen, explicitly confirm the usage of a reentrancy guard. Whenever you see a withdrawal-like function, just run this exact mental checklist. It directly maps to the historical corrections the entire ecosystem had to adopt.
Which brings us to the ultimate question laid out on our final blueprint. Will you spot the next reentrancy bug before it strikes? History has shown us the devastating consequences of getting this wrong, but hey, now you have the exact schematic to get it right. To master more Web3 security topics, dive deeper into the code, and keep expanding your audit toolkit, make sure to visit forge.college. Remember, keep those state updates first, and I will see you in the next explainer.